Welcome to UXUI Pros. We are all about helping users have a better experience, helping users get what they want, and helping stakeholders and businesses create the right product for their users or their clients. That's what we are all about. And with that said, I wanted to bring a student. He's no longer a student. He was a student, my student, which is one of my best students. Okay, yes, he was one of my best students, and that's the reason why I want to share. I invited him so that he can share his experience with you guys, because a lot of times what happens is that people sign up for boot camps and they have no idea what is going to happen. They have no idea about the challenges. They have no ideas about the things that you actually experience. There's some really awesome things that you experience. And the teamwork, the heavy loaded opportunity to practice teamwork in the boot camp. So I am going to be asking Baldemar about his experience. Actually, I actually saw his experience. I actually saw all of those things. It was like so cool having him in my class. And he was always one of the first people to show up in class. That's something that I love about students that become like my favorite students, is people that show up and do the extra. And that's the reason why um, I invited Valdemar to talk to us, because he went above and beyond the call of duty. So if you are a bootcamp student and you're just like, doing the basic, let me tell you, exit, because you're not going to make it. Okay. UX is all about doing the extra, always giving your best and even more than that. Because our job is to really create innovation, to make things better, to look at garbage and turn them into gold. Just imagine that. Just imagine you take garbage and turn it into gold. Like that's our job. Okay. So you know that I can talk forever. And with that said, let me just pause for a little second, and then we're gonna have Baldemar give us a little bit more about who he is, about the details, before we actually get into the nitty gritty of what UX UI is all about. Let's go, Baldemar. Tell us about you.
Hi, so I'm Baldemar Villarreal. I'm now a UX/UI designer. So recent graduate of the bootcamp. Sandra was my past instructor. So a little bit about myself. I have a background in graphic design. So I've been doing graphic design since 2015 and kind of doing like my own freelance work. After a while, I did feel like my opportunities were getting a little bit like monotonous, a little static, and I wanted to kind of elevate in my career field and see what other opportunities I could take on. After moving back to Texas, actually last year in 2021, that's when I actually discovered the opportunity of being able to take a UX UI design bootcamp, and I took a minute to think about it, and I was like, you know what? No, I have to push my limitations, be able to move forward, take that next step to be able to evolve in my career, and be able to meet my personal goals. So I decided to sign up for the UX UI bootcamp, and yeah, that experience was amazing. But like how Sandra said, we're going to get into the nitty gritty details about that later. Um, I do have my past experiences in graphic design doing remote work, also doing a little bit of in-office work, but mostly remote. And usually during the weekends, when I do have time, I do like to visit the Austin area, kind of like scope around the area, which is really nice, super artsy, totally my vibe. But other than that, I am super dedicated to my UX UI work. Currently have been updating my portfolio, polishing my case studies, and other fun stuff that I'll talk about later after we move forward with some of these questions.
Fun stuff. I like talking about fun stuff. And one of the fun stuff that I want to ask you about is, okay, so you are the graphic designer before you did all of this. Okay. A lot of graphic designers are like, there's nothing to it. UX, graphic design, same thing.
Mm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because you were a graphic designer, now you're a UX designer. What is the difference? What are the two different that you notice?
So for graphic design, I would have to take on clients, and it would be work. based off what meets the client needs. So based off client needs, you're going to incorporate that into your work, and depending on what you're going to be working on, like content or videos or graphics. So specifically, it's kind of narrow in the sense of incorporating insights from one person. So you're only working from a limited perspective. And then in the UX UI environment, you are creating something that's a little bit more innovative, more accessible, and is based off user insights. So instead of sticking with one individual that's going to be giving you all of these um, requirements to be able to meet their work, you're actually working with multiple people to be able to pull something that's accessible and effective, something that's going to um, be able to be used by all. So depending on what type of product you're making in UX UI design, you're able to speak with multiple users, multiple people, and pull insights to create something that's amazing. But from my experiences, honestly, if I didn't take that next step to be able to move up in graphic design and go into UX design, I feel like it's to me personally, just graphic design is kind of static, and UX UI design, there's always going to be something that's new, something that's gonna you're gonna incorporate new changes, something that you're never gonna think about, that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this feature or this new thing that I incorporate into my design actually works and my users love it.
Okay, that's awesome to know. And to let you guys know, although I was he was this student and I was teaching for a university, we are not going to mention the name of the university because we are not being paid for this. This is not an advertisement for the university. We are just doing this because we are passionate about it. We love UX. We love meeting the needs of users, and we want you, new UI designer, new UX UI designer, a graphic designer trying to venture into UX UI design, or just whatever is it that you are doing and you want to venture into UX UI design. We are just trying to help you to think about it a little bit more and help you to start your research by talking about this. That's what we are here to do. Again, this is not no advertisement. This is only simply to be able to share our experiences with you. And with that said, Baldemar, when you decided to sign up for this boot camp,
Mhm.
that the boot camp that you were in, um, how was it that you went about it? Did you just like think Marin de dos Pingües? You just pick one of the boot camp that you wanted, and then you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna be a UX UI designer, and then right after that you sign up, and you're just like, let's go. Like, so what is it that you do? And the reason why I'm asking, let me explain that
Mhm.
first. The reason why I'm asking is because one thing that I do notice is that lots of people, they sign up for a boot camp, and then
Mhm.
once they're in the boot camp, they have no idea it was going to be that challenging.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm asking. So what was your process?
So I actually did do my research before signing up for the bootcamp because when I started off my graphic design career, I was always interested in UX UI design. I didn't particularly know what it was about. I didn't have any idea what users meant or what agile methodologies meant until I, started the bootcamp. But what pulled me into the UX UI bootcamp was the just like the experience that was listed in the description for the boot camp. So that pulled me in. I remember there was like this little snippet of information where it was like, oh, create innovative products and new experiences for users. And I remember reading that little snippet of information. I believe it was through a social media post. And that's how I was able to find that the bootcamp even existed because I wasn't aware. And from there, I was like, you know what, let me try it out. And then I read that information, and that's what really pulled me in. I was like, you know what, I want to create something that's going to be innovative, something that's going to change how users interact with technology.
So being that you wanted to create something that innovated, okay. your first week of class. Tell us about that experience.
So first week of class, I would have to say, um, not that the design part was, fresh to me. I feel like the whole case study part, the types of methodologies used in order to create an effective case study, and the whole user persona insights, the type of methodologies used in information architecture, the data science behind it. That was mind blowing. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is um, definitely what I thought what I was getting into, and I was hoping that it wasn't all just design.
So just to get into a little bit more about that beginning part of it.
Hmm.
When it started, was it very easy for you? You're like, "Ah, piece of cake. I got all the time in the world to do this. Or was
Yeah.
it more like, ooh, this is a lot of work? Or how did other students, what did you heard from other students, your experience versus their experience?
The coursework definitely felt heavy if you did not do your research or you did not study or look up tutorials to be able to recognize the different types of software methodologies used. So going in with, I guess, zero knowledge, I would have to say yes, some of the coursework was a little bit heavy. It definitely wasn't easy, but um, like myself, using myself as an example, I kept on top of my studies, kept on top of my research, design software as well. So not that it was easy, but the processes became a little bit more smoother. But later on in the boot camp, the workload did become even more heavier, only because it shifted from what it was in the beginning towards the middle and the end.
So you said that it shifted, it got heavier. So what
Yeah.
was it that got heavier? The actual workload, or what could you explain a little bit more about what was heavier about
Yeah, of course.
that?
So, to me personally, what got heavier, I would say the workload and creating artifacts, and being able to pull a case study together. So I know there was various methodologies that UX designers now use. So my thought process was like, oh, I have to use all these different types of methodologies to create a case study, but later on, we found out, so my class and I found out, like, oh no, we're supposed to select the appropriate methodologies to be able to create those specific case studies. So it really depends what you're working with, or what you're creating, or what you're redesigning, and then using those appropriate methodologies to create your case study and be able to redefine or create a new product. That's what I discovered later on, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, it doesn't have to be like this lengthy case study."
Yeah,
Which,
that's the whole thing. The whole thing is
yeah,
just the whole thing about the boot camp is to
mhm,
help you improve your way of thinking. It
mhm,
help you to improve your creativity. It's not about doing the work for you, but
mhm,
teaching you how to do the work better. That's the whole
yes,
point about the
mhm,
boot camp. And a lot of people believe that a lot of those things they're going to learn on their own, but I do see a lot
mhm,
of the benefit, and I really enjoy teaching because I can see the progress of the student. I see
right,
where they actually come in without all
right,
of the knowledge, and then how they evolve and they grow, and the way that they
right,
talk, and the way that they communicate,
right,
and the way that they present the information. That is something
right.
that I really, really enjoy, to be able to see someone start here and then see the difference of where they are at. So yeah, you were saying something?
Yeah, so I did want to say, I do feel like if someone were to be self-taught on UX UI design, yes, you can do that. But my personal experience, having you as an instructor and having a UX professional give you critique, especially someone who's already in the field, was so effective in creating competitive work, competitive artifacts, competitive case studies, being able to create a well-rounded portfolio. So I feel like without all of those incentives, I feel like you don't really have as much as competition versus, having someone giving you critique.
Well, since you mentioned critique,
Yeah.
one of the things that people struggle is that they walk with their ego in their hand. So
hmm
when it comes to critique, tell us a little bit more about that. Because I know I'm one of those people. I give some heavy critique. And I am a killer with the critique. Okay. So how were you able to handle that? How did it really help you to be better?
So, as a graphic designer, I personally don't have a problem with critique, but I did notice that, if there's someone coming from a zero background in design or in the environment of design, um, someone may, take it personally. And, it happens because you're critiquing someone's personal work and they're like, well, this is my product baby, and I want to nurture them and make them into this amazing product that I I want to like make, you know, transformative and innovative and
I want
show
to
it to
impress you.
everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to
yes.
impress my stakeholders. Um, but someone that's used to critique, because I also do digital art and other designs projects on the side. I You have to be open about it. You have to be open about critique because it's going to make you better. Because just like feedback, you need it to be able to iterate and make improvements in whatever it is you're working on, not only design
Yeah,
projects but on like whatever personal career growth that you're trying to do. You need the critique to be able to become better at what you're already doing.
that is correct. And I have to tell you, if you are a UX UI design student or you want to do it on your own or whatever, practice getting criticism. Don't get it from your husband. Don't get it from your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Don't get it from people that really like you. Get it from people that you know that are heavy. They are heavy with their words. People that are
hmm
not going to always make it comfortable with you. Make sure that you go to people that are going to be bold and honest. Because in the real UX UI world, people they don't care about your feelings. They're going to be respectful, but they care about the product. They care about making products that the users are going to like. It's
hmm
not about, oh, Jill is going to feel bad if we tell her this. Jill, you know, I don't like Jill's work. It's not an emotional thing.
hmm
Okay? If you are all emotional about it, perhaps UX is not for you. UX is all about thinking. It's all about growing. And the only way you're going to grow if you change your thinking.
yeah,
Okay? That is the way it is. And you cannot change your thinking if you have all information in it. The whole
yeah,
point of UX is for you to learn new thinking, new information, new methodologies so that you understand what affordance is. And when you understand
hmm
what affordance, then you can create designs that has affordance, that have clues of what the users need to be doing. That's so that is going to happen. But critique, I will tell you, is the number one thing. Some people have a lot of beautiful work, but it's not functional. So your work can be so
yeah,
pretty, but if it doesn't work, it's useless. Okay? Useless. So that's why I am excited that I am interviewing a graphic designer who does pretty stuff, who does things then that people just go, this is so good. But guess what? That this is so good in UX, it have to be this is so simple. This is so easy. This actually works. That's what we want to do. What do you think about that, Valdemar?
yeah. It's not about all the pretty stuff in UX UI. It has to be functional and accessible to be effective. If you think about just the pretty stuff, go do some user testing and see what happens.
That was a good response there. User testing. And I know a lot of companies they say that they do UX UI design and they don't. Okay? They just talk within themselves and they decided to make a decision and they create a product. And for some reason, they realize that that product doesn't work because they were talking about themselves. And they call it UX because the developer is talking with the designer. That is not UX. UX Let us have actually Baldemar. Let us have Baldemar explain to us what is really UX.
So UX is the user experience design. So it's even in its name where you're able to create something that's accessible to the users.
That is correct. But that, people say that is accessible to users. So, you know, if I'm a designer and I have another designer and we are having
Mm-hmm.
that conversation, we can create an application. That's UX. Is that the way it works?
Absolutely not. You need to apply several UX methodologies to be able to make your product effective, and it goes through several iterations. And it's honestly, you're never finished. You're always going to have room for opportunities to be able to improve your product.
Right. But if those opportunities
Mhm.
to be able to improve your product, is that just based on your opinion and your designer's opinion? What is that based on?
No, it's based off user insights. So the way,
What does
so
that
the way,
mean?
so the way that I would come um, I guess, work in UX, I would start off a project with being able to collect user insights. And what that means, collecting user insights, you are going out into the field and actually talking to people. So one of the things that I found to be very successful, even in myself, is that I love talking to people. And if you love talking to people, then you're going to be successful in user experience design, because without them, your product means nothing. You have nothing to create something that's competitive, effective, and accessible with your users' insights. So the people who are going to be using said product, then you're going to create something that's amazing, something that people are going to be that are going to want to buy into, and you are able to bridge to a gap between the user and the company that you're working for. So there's a return on investment, and users are happy.
Guys, that's right. I definitely agree with that statement. I want to share with you guys. This is my website. So if you are a company and then you're looking for someone to do some audit for your company, and I'm not talking about IRS auditing. I'm talking about like auditing of going through your website and telling you what is working and what is not working. That's what UX UI Pros is all about. We help you meet the needs of users. That's what we focus. And if you are a designer, potential designer, you're interested in doing more UX work, you're trying to improve your portfolio, then please get in touch with us. uxuipros.com. You can get in touch with us there because what we do is that we do portfolio review. In other words, portfolio audit. And that means that we are going to go through your portfolio, tell you what is working, what is not working, read through your case study. And guess what? Valdemar is one of the people that is going to also be helping me with that. He is just amazing. We're going to talk, we'll hear more about his experience with job interviews because it's very important. Let me tell you, it's totally different than trying to go and interview for McDonald's jobs. Not that we look down on that, but it's a different process and a different way that you have to be communicating your information so that you can actually get the job that you want. But with that said, let me share my screen with you guys. And that screen right here, this is our website right here. So if you actually go here, you can actually see there is a little video intro that I have just talking a little bit more. You can see I do wear glasses. I don't see all the time, okay? I don't see all the time. But here is some of the information that we have if you want to find out more about how
Mhm.
what we do and how we can help you. But one of the things that I wanted you guys to be able to see is when it comes to UX UI, I want you to understand that it's all about learnability, credibility, desirability, feasibility, and profitability. That's what business want. They want profitability. Okay, that means you need to create products that is going to make companies money, not just products because they look cute and then they don't make money. That's what we are all about, helping you create product that's going to make
Mhm.
money, helping you design product based on validation. And when we're talking about validation, that means you want to validate it with real people, not the imaginary people that you have in your head. or your department have in your head, in their head, or based on your boss said that you need to create something that way. That's not what it is. We one thing that Baldemar learned in the class is really to push back. You have to have the ability to be able to speak in order for you to push back. And pushback is not about being disrespectful, it's about understanding why is it that you're pushing back. It's based on the research that you have done. Right, Baldemar? How is it that, like when you were working in the group projects, okay? Tell us about some of those experiences without telling us the name of the people that you have the challenges with.
Yeah.
Tell us one of the challenges that you actually experienced when you were working in the team.
Yeah, of course. So actually, for one of my group projects, we were coming up with a website redesign. So we had to, you know, get the collective kind of like concepts of everybody to see like which direction we wanted to go in and how we wanted to redesign the website. So the thing is, when you're working in a group, you have to take into consideration what everybody's thought process is. So things will go a little bit more smoother. But in my group, I did have some pushback, and the thing is, I I I did feel the need to push back as well because some of the some of the ideas that this other designer was kind of throwing was that, hey, we should do this feature because this will make the website look a lot more, you know, better, and it's going to stand out to the users. The users will be able to find the information they need and access the um, specific functions of the website that they need to access or meet specific website needs that they need from there. And some of the things that I guess didn't run me the right way was that, okay, I get it. You want to incorporate these types of features. You want to incorporate these type of icons. You want to reinvent it in this type of manner. But the thing is, there was no supporting um, research to back up those concepts. And without supporting research to back up those concepts, these ideas were, to me, they were empty ideas. So they were interesting ideas, but, how are these ideas going to help you create an effective website? How are they going to help you redesign something that's already there? This website already has their users. So there are things on that website that are unique to those users. And the thing is, this person in my group wanted to eliminate some of those things because they were prettier. And I'm like, okay, well, I understand that, it's for you, it's all about, things looking amazing to the user, things that are going to stand out to the users. But for me, it's more like, okay, yeah, like I love that because of my graphic design background, but I also wanted to definitely push the UX UI user experience background that I was getting from the bootcamp. And I I pushed back and I was like, no, there's no meaning behind your ideation process, and like, tell me why you want to incorporate these features, tell me why you want to incorporate these specific designs. And they couldn't come up with like any type of like reference or research. I was like, okay, well, we're going to move forward with these other ideas, because we did our research and we found these to be most effective for the users that are unique to that website.
Yes, and you said it so beautifully. Mm, I could not even say it any better if I try. So thank you for sharing that information. And that's something that that you actually get from working with other people in the real
Hmm.
life. When we actually working in UX, you are going to have people that are only going to give you feedback based on their opinions. And
Hmm.
you can't just say, "Oh, that is just your opinion." But do you see how Valdemar did it? It was more about what research is that based on, and that's what we want to do. It we want to make sure that we are backing up our data
Hmm.
with the research, the interviews that we have done, the talking that we did with the users, the testing that we have performed with the users. All of those, once we have analyzed all of that information, is going to give us real feedback for us to be able to create better applications. And that's the reason why it is very important if you are going to be doing studying UX UI, if you're going to be participating in a bootcamp, it is important that you do your research, because once you are in the bootcamp itself, you're going to be doing research. You're going to be asking questions. You're going to be talking to people. So if you are one of those people that don't like to talk, I say, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying practice talking, because you will be talking. How much talking did you do when you were in the class, Valdemar?
Ooh, a lot. Yeah. You have to you have to be able to express your methodologies and be able to talk about your processes. If you're not able to talk about your processes, then you're not able to communicate what you're doing, your design. You're not able to convince stakeholders like this is the way we should redesign our product because this is the way that it's going to become successful. If you're not able to do that, then you're not going to really make it in the environment.
That's right. I totally agree with you. But we talk a lot about your experience in the boot camp.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about just before, let's envision just before you actually finish, before you got your certificate and all
Okay.
of that.
Mhm.
How did you feel about the work that you created while you were in the boot camp? You know where you
Mm.
were and how it ended. What do you think that you learned, and how is that helping you with your job interviews right now?
So, so from uh, so from my first project all the way to my last one, I look back at my first one and I'm like, "Oh, what happened there?" And then I look at the last one and I'm like, "Wow, you can see the growth in all of the research, the effort, the time put into creating all of these projects. I am very proud of my work, regardless of what it was that I created in group project one and my first couple of homeworks. I am proud that I created that because whatever that was, even if, let's just say, for example, that it was because of mistakes. Because of those mistakes, I was able to grow into the UX UI designer that I am now.
And what is something I always talking about mistake? What did I always say about mistakes?
You're going to make mistakes, and you're
Period.
going, yeah.
Every student, from the time they start, I say, if you are not comfortable making mistake, get comfortable, because I'm going to make sure that you make mistakes. That's what we learn by making mistakes. And a lot of people have a problem making mistakes, and that's the reason why their ego get hurt, because when the thing is not perfect, which is never going to be perfect, you, as a UX, you want people to find problems with your work, especially before you actually get to designing the work. When you get to the beginning stage of it, you want people to criticize your work. You want people to give you feedback. You want people to say, this sucks, if that's what they want to say, because then you can make changes and make improvement, because innovation is caused by a need, and you are not going to find out about a need if you don't really make a mistake. That's the way you're going to discover things. So get comfortable making mistakes. That's one thing that I really love about the UX UI world, is because it embraces mistake, it embraces change, and that's what we are here for, to grow and help companies grow and help users have great experiences with the application, with the website, with whatever it is that you are building for them. You can be building a device. UX is not only about websites and mobile application. UX is everything. You can be in a building and just think about how I'm going to make improve that building. What kind of technology can I add to make it simple for the elderly, or to make it simple for a woman that just had a baby, or to make it simple for anybody? As long as you can find a need, you can be doing amazing UX work. So, with that said, Baldemar, so tell us about your interview process. What has been going on? Because Baldemar just
Yes.
actually finished the bootcamp just recently. It just recently he finished the bootcamp.
Mhm.
So, what has been happening with the interviews, and
Yeah.
how does that work out?
Yeah, of course. Um, so so before the interview process, you definitely want to polish up your portfolio, and you definitely want to have your case studies finished. Um, for myself, my portfolio, I'm going to be honest, it's not completely finished, but I do have my case studies. And that's what you want to present to your potential employers because they want to see your processes.
So
With
can
that,
you explain to
uh
us what's the difference between the portfolio and the case study? What's the difference?
oh, no, no, I'm sorry. What I meant is, having your case studies in your portfolio to be able to show your work. So they want to see your processes in your portfolio.
Okay, so for those people that don't know what we're talking about, can you explain
Mhm.
that so people
Yes.
understand what a portfolio is, but what really is a case study?
Of course. So for your case studies, it's basically all the information architecture of artifacts that you used, all the methodologies that you use to be able to create or redesign a product. For myself, I do. It really depends what you want to put into your case studies inside your portfolio and how you want to design it. So for some of my case studies, I did include important artifacts that either changed, iterated, or made my product better. Sketches of your prototypes, anything that you did to be able to create the product that you did, you want to display that. You want to show all the information. So basically, it's like telling a story of your processes.
So the whole point of the case study so that the employers, so that the stakeholders, so people understand your thought process. That's
Mhm,
what UX is all about. We have to make sure that we understand how to communicate what is in our
mhm,
head, because what is in our head, we can visually be thinking, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. But if that, I want to do this and I want to do that, if you can have communicated
mhm,
with your mouth verbally and visually
mhm,
be able to present what you communicated, okay, then it's going to be confusing because
mhm,
what we both can be seeing the same thing and thinking two different things. And that's what the case study help you with. The case study help understand your thought process. And that's something
mhm,
that we are very big on when you are in the boot camp, is really helping you build a good case study, build a good
mhm,
portfolio so you can have an amazing portfolio. I actually
mhm,
I've been interviewing people for job because I also
mhm.
work with a different company, and they don't pay me to advertise here either. So so I I've been interviewing people for different jobs because I have to, hire different designers, I
Mhm,
hire project managers, I hire developer, depending on what the project that we're working on. And what
mhm,
happened is that when I am interviewing them, my job is to really understand how they're thinking. And I had this person that I was
mhm,
interviewing, and they had a beautiful portfolio, like great work, but they had no idea how to explain what they were doing. Nothing. They did the work. So when someone actually do the work and they cannot explain it, you think they didn't do this, right? Because they don't know
Right.
how to explain it.
Yeah.
If you did
Yeah.
it, you should be able to tell me the beginning to the end. But without telling me the beginning to the end, because I really don't want to know the beginning to the end. I only want to know the beginning to the end summary of what is it
Mhm,
that you did. And a lot of people, when you ask them, they want to tell you about how they come to the world and how their mom was happy with them and how they did all this, how they crawl and how they walk and how they started running. We don't want to know all that detail, okay? We
mhm,
just want to know what we need to know about UX so that you can, so that we know you know what you're talking about. You can
mhm,
actually speak. Okay. That's what the whole case study is about. Portfolio is just to show your pretty work. But the actual
mhm,
case study is for you to be able to help us understand how is it that you're
mhm,
thinking about things. So that's one of the things that I have seen when I am interviewing people. And I have interviewed people that are expert, like I'm telling you, like expert UX
mhm,
people, and their case
mhm,
study is not good. Okay, because they are very focused on designing, but they are very limited in communication. And that's one of the things that I can tell you guys that we are very good at helping you with. It's helping you do presentation, helping you communicate your thought, helping you express yourself better, helping you use
Mhm.
the right terminology. That's
Right.
what this is all about. Right, Baldemar?
Mhm.
What can you tell us a little bit more about that? How have that helped you in your interview process?
Oh my gosh, I've definitely been able to talk about my processes, be able to talk about my methodologies, be able to get my points across to potential employers, which has been amazing. And I feel like they're able to actually understand my points and be able to understand the type of products and processes that I went through to be able to create the case studies that I have now. But it definitely very effective.
So can you
And
give us an example? So I know that
yeah,
yeah.
and so my interviews, yeah, the ones he wanted me to talk about, yeah. So, actually had two. They weren't back to back. So my first one that I had was before the Christmas break. Um, which this is one of the ones I'm still waiting on. It is a usually corporate positions you wait a little bit. Um, but for this one, I went through two rounds of interviews. It's typically three rounds for UX design, and I got to the second one with the UX director, and that's where it was more eye-opening to what type of expectations that are set for those types of interviews. So I had no idea what type of questions the UX director would have for me. So I was like mentally preparing, doing my research, and I was like, oh gosh, I have to really like set the field for this person because they're way up here, they have way more knowledge than I do, and I want to make sure that I'm able to get my points across. So I did my research and everything, and then I got on call with him, and the first thing that he tells me is, "Hey, so he said he was like lost in my portfolio because he was super into the way that I designed it and into my case studies." And I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like, ooh, starting off the interview with like on a good note. Um, and then he's like, "Okay, we're gonna pretend we're like on an airplane. We're having a casual conversation, and I want you to talk to me about your processes." And then I told him, he literally went through my portfolio, picked out one of the case studies, and he wanted me to speak about my processes. So exactly what Sandra said, talk about a summary of your case study. He did not want to know everything. So I did talk about a little bit about a specific case study, and my methodologies that I used to be able to create that product. Um, and then he followed up with, like, not that he cut me off, but he immediately asked a question about my design skills when I went to the prototyping software. So the thing is, it is different with interviewers because you don't know what they're looking for until they hear it. And I could tell that once he heard that I said, "Oh yeah, well, from the beginning of the bootcamp to the end, I got really fast at prototyping, but that's because I have experience in design software." So I told him that I can do rapid prototyping, so I can get something done within a day and a half, and that amazed him. He specifically zoomed into that, and he was like, "I love that. That's amazing." And then he just went into that, and he was talking more about the prototype and the prototype software that they use, and then we just had a whole conversation about Sketch and Figma, and that was literally the entire other half of the interview because they are looking for something, and if you don't say it, you are going to bore them. Because at some point, I was like, "Oh, like you feel it. You're like, oh, I feel like I might be boring him," but no, they're looking for something, and they're looking for you to say it.
Yep, yep. You said it magically. They're looking for you to say it because what they're doing is they're listening to how you are speaking, how you are communicating. Because the
Yeah,
whole point is you're going to be talking to customers, you're going to be talking to users, you're going to be talking to people, you're going to be representing the company. So if you cannot
right,
talk, like that's already a problem for them. So
right.
that is something that I will tell anybody. You definitely need to practice
Hmm.
your ability to talk. So,
Yep.
Valimar, some of the things them that if you were to go
Hmm.
back and you're not into the boot camp yet, what are some of
Hmm.
the things them that you would have done differently, that you would have you know, a student that is thinking about taking the boot camp, what are some advice that you will give them for them to be able to succeed in a boot camp?
Honestly, if I were to go back, I wish I would have looked at more UX research methodologies, the terminology. Um, Looking back at UX portfolio examples to be able to understand how UX designers are able to express their work. Um, Also, the data science and information architecture part, that is so crucial to being able to explain your work. And, in my opinion, I felt like that was very important. Without the information architecture part, there's like, you're just scattered. You have to have something that is, cohesive and something that's going to make sense. If you don't have that, then it's like, okay, what they're going to, your stakeholders or even your potential employer is going to be like, what are they talking about? I have no idea. I'm lost. And, that whole sense of organization. Like, I really wish I did more research on how to properly execute UX design versus me just going in like, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to take this in.
Yep. And thank you for sharing that. The other thing that I would say that I would recommend as an instructor, if you're going to be signing up for a boot camp, I say make sure you have time.
Yeah.
A lot of people sign up for a boot camp and they don't have time to be able to even study. So you don't have time to study, but you are signing up for a boot camp. You know what a boot camp means? That means they're going to pack you with information, just like if you was in the military and you're going to go to a boot camp. That's what a boot camp is
Mhm.
all about. A boot camp, okay, I've been doing UX, UI design, web design, interface design, interaction design, animation design. I have done all of that through the years. And it took me years. And I have over 15 years in this whole industry. UX, the whole boot camp, it can be 3 months, 6 months, whatever months. They're going to give you what I learned in many years. They're going to try to pack you up with all of that information within months. That means that if you are not dedicated, you're going to be frustrated. Okay. So you need to be dedicated because this is your money that you are investing. This is the money that you are paying yourself. You are investing in yourself. And instead of just buying an outfit or a lipstick, you are actually paying for an education so that you can make more money. So you have to do the research, you have to do the work, but you have to make time to be able to be successful in the bootcamp. What do you thought about that part?
Yes, I was going to say, I was actually going to go back to what my interview, the UX director interview went like. So one of the things that stood out the most, and one of the things that was mentioned a lot, was that if you're not passionate, it's not for you. You definitely have to be passionate about it. I myself, I am very passionate about UX UI design. I definitely
Yes, you
want
are. I know that
I
you are.
I definitely want to move up that corporate ladder and eventually be a UX director. But for now, yes, you do have to be very passionate about it, very invested. So I do recommend that you set a lot of time aside to do that research, to be able to practice and definitely you know iterate, research, talk to your users, anything that you need to do to become super successful in UX.
Okay. So is there an email address that you would like to share or something that you would like to share? Somebody wanted to reach out
Yeah.
to you. Oh, actually, you are on LinkedIn too. So you
Yeah,
can share.
actually, I am on LinkedIn. So if anybody would like to reach out with any questions, either the bootcamp or how my experience is going post bootcamp, definitely add me, reach out, and send me a message.
Okay. And if you are looking for someone to help you with your work and you want to find out more about what Valdemar have to offer, remember, get in touch with Valdemar via LinkedIn. You just go, everything is LinkedIn. That is our second portfolio. Okay. That is our resume. That is where we put our data. Okay. So if you want to learn more about Valdemar and see what he can do for you, then please reach out to him on LinkedIn. And I am going to actually put the link of the link, his LinkedIn address. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the description of this video as soon as we finish, so that you guys don't have to go and try to figure out which one is Baldemar. But I can tell you, you should be able to find him anyway, because look at that, Baldemar Villarreal. Like, look at that. That sounds like a prestigious name already. Baldemar Villarreal, UX UI designer. Mwah. It sounds so beautiful. And let me
Thank
tell you,
you.
I can tell you, seeing him work with other people has been wonderful. He is excellent at managing project. He's excellent at communicating. He is very patient. Very patient and very respectful. That's one of the things that I noticed when he was my student. He is very dedicated to everything that he's doing, and even when someone took him off, and I didn't say the bad word, I said take him off. Okay, when that happened, he is very professional about it. And even if he might think that you're stupid, it's not going to come out saying that you're stupid. He's going to actually ask questions so that you can explain, so that he will give you the benefit of the doubt and allow you to prove that you are actually smart. Okay, because I actually saw when we were in class, and some people were who just do the stupidest things. And Baldemar, the way that he handled it, he was so professional about it. That's the reason why he became one of my best students, because I love who he is as a person. I love who he is as a worker. I love who he is as a designer. I love the passion that he carry when he's actually working with the user. I see in him in different stages. And when he and his team actually went on tests with users, they like went to Starbucks and they did interviews and they did all that kind of stuff. You should see the joy in their faces. That was just a wonderful experience to enjoy. I really enjoy that, and that's the reason why I am. You see that I'm just showing him with lots of flowers and all that, because when someone have done the work, I don't have a problem talking great about them. If they did not do the work, believe me, they were not going to be even interviewing here. Okay, he have done the work. So if you need to work with Baldemar and you need more reference about who Baldemar is and what he can do, baby, you can talk to me and I will take responsibility for him, because I can tell you, I will put my hand on the fire for the work that he can provide, because I know I was with him for 6 months and I saw all his effort. And if he make a mistake, if he does something that I thought that he should not have done because I thought that he could do more, he fixed it. That's what we want in UX UI. We want people that are humble, people that even if they are genius, they don't show off their genius hood. They don't show up, oh, I know everything. It's not about that. It's about change and growing and working with people.
Yeah.
All about collaboration, because UX is not a solo process, it's a collaboration process. Okay? So, with
Mhm.
that said about Balimar, if you are looking to get your website, your application, your service audited, again, we are not talking about iOS audit. Okay, I know April is coming. You will have to deal with that on your own. But I'm talking about the actual UX UI audit, where we're going to go through the whole process of doing a heuristic evaluation,
Mhm.
detailed heuristic evaluation of your product or services. And on top of that, if we need to, we will do competitive analysis and all the details, so that you can understand what your users need and how to meet their needs. That's what we are all about, helping you meet the needs of your users and helping
Mhm.
you be profitable.
Yeah.
Profitability. Okay. If you are not profitable, you're just wasting time in marketing and social media, because that's not where it is. You have
Yeah.
to meet the needs of your users, and your users, when you meet their needs, they're going to give you the money. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how that works. So with that said, thank you guys for giving us the time. Thank you guys for putting up with us. And you know what, if you are an expert, UX UI expert, and you have done this for many years, and you would like to share your thoughts, your experience, especially if you are a UX researcher or a UX developer, We want to
Mhm.
know from you. Like, we want to know the way that you think, okay? Because we think differently, okay? So we want to know your thoughts. So get in touch with us again. That is going to be you. I'm going to put my little caption right here. I am on Twitter, UXUI Pros, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. And you can find me there as Sandra Graves. It's Graves. It's not what you guys say, like Peter Graves from Mission Impossible. It's Sandra Graves. Let's
Mhm.
make that very clear. So, Valdemar, before we go, anything else that you want to share, that you want to tell us about you and your experience, and something that you want to leave with those people that are interested in maybe studying UX UI? Anything you want to share?
Yes. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep studying. Put in a lot of effort. If you're passionate about it, you will succeed. Just keep on going. There were times when I felt like I was like, ah, this is too much work. I'm never gonna finish it. And I doubted my concepts, my ideation. Um, but you know what? You learn from your mistakes and you make it better. So keep going, get your critique, ask people, ask users for a critique.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. So
And
thank you for
and
sharing that. Go
and
ahead.
most importantly, I'm sorry, and most importantly, speak. Be speak, be able to talk to your users and love talking to people.
Yep. Speak up, baby. Speak up. And again, just visit my website, uxuipros.com,
Mhm.
and you can fill out this form that you see right there, and I will be very happy to talk to you. Again, this is Sandra Graves signing out. Remember, put users first.